I'm going to talk about the Socialist Party of America and its successor. Oh, by the way, I'm Red Labor. The Socialist Party of America split three ways in 1972. It split into Social Democrats USA, the Democratic Socialist Organizing Committee, which renamed itself Democratic Socialists of America in 1982, and the Socialist Party USA. I said this in another commentary before, that all three organizations have their strengths and weaknesses. There are things I love about all three organizations, and there are things I kind of dislike about all three of them. We'll start with Social Democrats USA. Logically, there are things about Social Democrats USA that should appeal to me. When the Socialist Party Social Democratic Federation changed its name to Social Democrats USA in 1972, they still were officially the Socialist Party of America in an institutional way. They still had a League of Industrial Democracy. They had the seat to the Socialist International. But the problem was they were too far right at the time. I'm an anti-communist, unapologetically an anti-communist, but their anti-communism went into the ridiculous. Their support for the Vietnam War, crazy. Their support for Contra aid in the 1980s, also again crazy. And then their kind of shift toward a neoconservative direction with their support of the Iraq War invasion in 2003. Crazy. They were not wrong for being anti-communist. They were not wrong for being pro-Israel. But they were wrong with siding with a whole lot of questionable people, and for a while they were shifting toward a neoconservative direction. Now, some people have rescued Social Democrats USA in the recent years, even as a shell of its former self, and they have moved back toward the left to the point where I feel comfortable with them. I'm not a member, by the way. Democratic Socialist Organizing Committee, a faction of the Socialist Party headed by Michael Harrington. His faction created DSOC. From 1973 until 1982, DSOC operated as sort of the more left-wing version of Social Democrats USA, and they occupied the other seat at the Socialist International. They would gain a lot of prestige, and they would be somewhat credible with their links to organized labor, and had the listening ear of a few progressive Democrats in the House and the Senate. Too few, unfortunately. Democratic Socialists of America is a fine organization, except that they don't really organize, from what I could tell, locally too well. I've been a member of DSA. I guess I still am, because once you pay dues, you're a lifelong member. Seems to be the case. And DSA, I like them because they're anti-communist without being insane about it. They're pro-Israel, which, as a leftist, I am glad there's a left-wing voice to support Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, with a currently bad government at the moment. And I'm hoping the Labor Party will win the next election in Israel. But getting back to what I was saying, DSA is a very good group. Good intellectuals, good labor leaders. But the problem with DSA is that they want to rely too much on the Democratic Party. Then there's the Socialist Party USA. I've been a member of the SPUSA. I like the nostalgia and the history that they tried to preserve regarding Eugene Debs and some of those old-timers. Sadly, they kind of moved away from the Norman Thomas era in the last 15 years. But the Socialist Party USA is very insistent on independent political action. And for that, I give them kudos, although at the time I thought they were a little bit too fundamentalist on that question. Turned out that they were correct. I've had disagreements with certain people in the party, like Greg Payson and Eric Chester, over the SP's relationship to Democrats. And while I am an unapologetic reformist type social democrat, they were correct, and for which I do owe both Comrade Payson and Comrade Chester an apology. They were right on that question. Disagree with them on their position on the Socialist International, disagree with them on their position on Bernie Sanders, but they were correct about the Democrats. So there you have it, folks. All three organizations. And it would be nice if somehow that the Socialist Party USA, Democratic Socialists of America, and the Social Democrats USA could reconcile their differences and be one unified Socialist Party of America again. But I know that's not going to happen, and I need to realize this is not going to happen. This is why I consider myself now an independent socialist. I will vote for Stuart Alexander for president in November, the Socialist Party USA candidate. I will give encouragement to DSA with their work globally with the Socialist International, with their links to the Labor, Social Democratic, and Democratic Socialist political parties around the world, and their ties with organized labor in the United States, and to the Social Democrats USA, who has pretty much some old left politics, and in spite of some of the errors of the past, there seems to be a yearning and a consistent yearning for human rights. Even when they make mistakes, they have good intentions. And for all three organizations, I wish each and all three of you the best of luck of what you're trying to do. But we stand all better together than alone. And I wish that we can resolve the differences. So, Eugene Debs, Norman Thomas, Upton Sinclair, A. Philip Randolph, Helen Keller can just go back to sleep peacefully from their graves and think, this is our party. They're together and they're standing up. They're standing up against capitalism. They're standing up against communism. They're standing up against neoconservative war hawks. They're standing up against Islamic jihadists. They're standing up against, all forces who are negative and authoritarian, and a consistent love for democracy, freedom. That's the kind of socialist party I want. I want my Socialist Party of America back. Thanks.